with two whites think they the baddest, and I'm fucking them both. My niggas sitting here laughing like my son is a joke. Her husband play for the Mavericks, double one for the Colts. I guess it's niggas that have it, and it's niggas that don't. And I don't mean cash, I'm speaking on aura, that means swag. When you can walk in the room and make the scene sad. When you cool and niggas seem mad. I mean dag, you keep switching up coops like everything tag. With two fully, knife with two hoodies. Get your ass clipped for the price of two bullies. Said it's 22 for the white, that's two goodies. D squared, two red, white, and blue pulley. Pair of Sakai's on, a pair like a cyclone. Closet full of fly compared to Sky Zone. Trunk full of pies like hear what you guys want. You said 10 and a half, then yeah, your size gone.
Would you consider yourself more of a lyricist or a freestyle type of rapper?
I say a lyricist. Real ill. Fat beats, fat rhymes, fat hooks. That's what hip-hop is all about.
The life of Big L is an undeniable testament to both the immense talent and heartbreaking tragedy that can accompany a rising star in the world of hip-hop. Hailing from Harlem, New York, Big L's lyrical prowess and captivating delivery quickly garnered him recognition as one of the genre's most promising artists in the 1990s.
Yeah, while we hold gats, you hold knives. When you sold apes, we sold pies. When you roll bikes, we roll fives. There's no comparison, son. Just embarrassing. I'm running with some of the baddest men in the whole New York.
However, despite his undeniable potential and growing success, his life was tragically cut short, leaving a void in the rap community all over the world. Lamont Coleman was born on May 30th, 1974 in Harlem, New York. He was the youngest of three children, born to Gilda Pinky Terry and Charles Davis. Unfortunately, he grew up in a single-parent household because his father left the family when Coleman was just a child. He and his brothers, Donald and Leroy, grew up in a two-room apartment on 139th Street and Lenox Avenue. Growing up, he was often called by the nickname Little L, since he was the youngest, or Mont. According to Don, everybody on the block was like family. They grew up struggling like everybody else, but their mother did everything to support her children, including running numbers, which according to Don, helped her to get a lot of nice things for them. We had a new bedroom set like every 2 years. We had a new living room set every year. We had the name chains with the ring and the bracelet when we were like 10. Everybody loved their mother because she not only took care of her own children, but also looked after everybody on the block. She was the president of Tenants Association and the block parties was on after that. She'd get the food, cook, everybody would come out. She started going to great adventure with the kids from the block. She would pay for everyone. According to his brother Don, Big L was actually adopted by the family from their uncle. When their uncle came back from the army, after the war, he had a lot of mental problems. They took Lamont to live with them. That's where the name Coleman came from. It was from his mother. Unfortunately, they were never able to find her. L found out about it at around the age of 14, and despite being teased by his brothers, he never really cared about it and just brushed it off. Big L got his first spark for hip-hop when he and his brother went to the Run DMC concert in 1985. Don had 2 tickets and decided to take Lamont with him. Despite being underage, Don snuck him into the concert, and after he heard
I'm the king of rock, the none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire.
And everybody started to jump, L was stunned, with his mouth wide open, completely mesmerized by what was happening. At the age of 12, Coleman became a huge hip-hop fanatic and began freestyling against people in his neighborhood with his brother Don on the turntables. In the beginning, all I ever saw me doing was battling everybody on the street corners, rhyming in the hallways, beating on the wall, and rhyming to my friends. Every now and then, a house party, grab the mic, a block party, grab the mic. He had grown to realize that it was time to change the nickname. Plus, he wasn't a big fan of calling himself Little since he felt like it belittled him, so he changed it to Big L. A name that would soon become legendary in the hip-hop world. It's interesting that less than 10 years later, people started to call themselves Lil, and what was considered in a way emasculate just 10 years prior, now became a new wave. Apart from spending a lot of time with his brother Don, he was always closer with Leroy, better known as Lee, and even looked up to him. Lee wasn't a big fan of music and would rather solve conflicts with hands than freestyle battles. During the Complex interview, Don said, I was the oldest, but everybody thought my brother Lee was the oldest because he was really dangerous. He never smiled, he never laughed. Jules, one of the childhood friends, who also grew up on the same block, didn't shy away from describing him as the most notable scary guy amongst groups of scary guys. Growing up as close to the streets as Big L and his brothers were, it wasn't a surprise that some of the family members would also choose this route. Apart from him, there were a lot of guys who were freestyle battling on the block, one of which was Jules' friend and a guy who L liked a lot, D-Wiz. One day, L said to him, Yo, I wanna rhyme, what do I need to do? And he simply responded with, get a notebook and start writing. That was exactly what he did, and in 1990, L began writing some of his first rhymes on paper, Big Daddy Kane being one of his main influences. Around the same time, he founded a group called 3 The Hard Way. The group consisted of Big L, Doc Ream, and Rodney. Unfortunately, the group didn't release any albums, and not long after the group was founded, Rodney left the group due to lack of enthusiasm. Since there were only 2 members left, they changed the name to 2 Hard Motherfuckers. L would write something and then would rhyme to D-Wiz and Jules to see their reaction and hopefully get some feedback to L and took him to Shortman's home studio, which was locally known as a staple producer in Harlem. Soon enough, all of them would be going to different open mic events along 125th Street, participating in battles with the hope of getting noticed by somebody. A lot of major artists that they would meet simply ignored him, and some would listen, but would often respond with, "He's dope, but he rhymes too hard. We don't know what we could do with him." Or, "I'm just an artist on the label. I don't really have power on my own yet to be able to put him anywhere. But he's nice." Thankfully, their search would finally see some results when in summer of 1990, when Big L was around the age of 16, they would meet Lord Finesse at an autograph session in a Rockin' Will's record shop on the same 125th Street. They came into the store, and one of L's friends came up to Finesse and said, "My man wants to rhyme for you." At the time, a lot of people would come up to Finesse saying that they were the next big thing, but in his own words, most of the time, it was nothing prolific. Responding to the situation, he was about to give him his manager's number when his friend doubled down and said, "Yo, he'll rhyme for you. If you don't like him, he'll never bother you again." Thankfully, it somehow worked, and he responded with, "Word, let me hear him." Lord Finesse was blown right away. The rhyme style, the punchlines, the compounds, he loved everything. From the first moment, I knew he was going to be great. He still needed to work on a lot of things, but at the time, I've never seen a 16-year-old this polished. He immediately took him under his wing, picking him up from school and bringing him on every interview and every little show, just to show the world that he was the future of hip-hop. He started to hang around and later joined DITC, or Diggin' in the Crates, a hip-hop collective consisting of Lord Finesse, Diamond D, OC, Fat Joe, Buck Wild, Showbiz, and AG. In 1991, he began recording various demos, some of which would later be featured on his debut album. He also founded the Harlem group, Children of the Corn, with Killa Cam, Mace, Herb McGruff, and Bloodshed. According to Jules, Children of the Corn originally were called Cage Fury. Children of the Corn was a group that was already in existence, but they were called Cage Fury. The Cage Fury was Mace, Cameron, Digga, and Bloodshed. They had gone to L a few times in regard to working. L was always so busy, so they went to Herb McGruff. When Gruff got on it, that's when L said, "You know, my man f***ing with it, I'll f*** with it." L was always trying to put his friends on, a trait that he would carry throughout his life. Money was still an issue, so he and the boys from Children of the Corn created a new hustle. L was battling guys left and right, winning every single battle, so his boys started to put money on him and give him half of their winnings. It got to a point where L was so feared, not for his street antics, but rather for his skills on the mic, and nobody wanted to battle him. According to Dame Dash, one day Jay-Z pulled up on Big L and challenged him to a battle. "Yo, my man Jay wants to battle L." L came down the block, dapped everybody up, and they started to go back and forth at each other. At the end, everybody called it a draw, but one thing was for sure, they both gained some serious respect for one another. While everybody called it a tie, L himself told Finesse that he actually won the battle when he called him afterward, reciting the rhymes that he was kicking. Big L made his first professional on Yes You Me remix on the B-side of Party Over Here by Lord Finesse.
I only roll with originators. Chicks stick to my like magnets on refrigerators.
In 1992, he made his first album appearance on the song Represent by Showbiz and AGG's Runaway Slave.
MCs be bragging about cash they collect, but them chumps is like Ray Charles cause they ain't seen no money yet.
He also graduated from high school and won an amateur freestyle battle, which consisted of about 2,000 contestants. With a lot of hype around his name in Harlem and cosigns from artists like Lord Finesse, the same year, Coleman landed a record deal with Columbia Records. Now, with a label behind him, he started to work on his debut album. In 1993, Big L released his first promotional single, called Devil's Son. While the single didn't have the biggest commercial success, it sure showed people that the storm was coming.
This kid, yo, owed me dope. I didn't take his life instead. I tied him up and made him watch me f*** his wife.
The single was classified as horrorcore and would even be pulled off the radio for its lyrics. I've been always a fan of horror flicks, plus the things I see in Harlem are very scary, so I just put it all together in a rhyme. A year later, he released his second promotional single called Clinic, and the radio edit of Put It On, which was also accompanied by a music video.
8 yo, you better flee hops or get your head flown 3 blocks. L keep rappers hearts pumping like beatbox.
On February 23rd, 1995, Big L went on the Stretch Armstrong and Bobito show when suddenly Jay-Z came into the studio asking to freestyle, giving us the legendary 10 minutes of Jay-Z and Big L going back to back together on the mic.
I cook the mic like a beef steak, cause my technique's great. And I'm the nigga police hate in each state, cause I'm the neighborhood lamper, punk rubber vamper. Around you find my silk boxes in your mother's hamper. Cops drop when my Glock makes the pow sound. I'm from a wild town, you know my style, clown, so bow down. Word up.
Say what?
95 style. I got my man Jay-Z here.
Jay-Z.
Check it out now. Check it out now. Hey yo, brothers can beg and borrow, still feel sorrow when Jay-Z like Zorro. Get in that ass, better luck tomorrow. I'm too much, nigga, so never should you rush. You need to slow down or get your ass toe down.
With a lot of buzz around his name and a couple of years in the industry under his belt, Big L knew it was finally the time to release his debut album. In March 1995, the world got to listen to a masterpiece, which would soon become one of the iconic albums of the decade, called Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. The album was a great success. While it only reached 149th spot on the Billboard 200, the album would go on to sell 200,000 copies and fully solidified Big L's name in the world of hip-hop. The album is filled with complex rhymes, wordplays, and some of the best punchlines in the hip-hop.
So don't step to this cause I got a live crew. You might be kinda big, but they make coffee so size 2. A Tech 9 is my utensil. Filling niggas with so much lead they can use they for a pencil. Step to this and get shanked up. I knocked out so many teeth the tooth fairy went bankrupt.
The album received positive reviews from music critics, earning praise for his lyricism and wordplay. However, when it came down to the ratings, AllMusic gave the album 3 out of 5 star rating, stating, with better production and marketing, Big L might have found himself with a platinum album, but instead, he settled for platinum respect. Unfortunately, what should have been a start to an amazing career quickly turned to disputes with the label. The record label that he was signed at the time, Columbia Records, wasn't a fan of his style. They were looking for somebody more mellow and didn't like the artistic approach that L was embracing in his music, which was horrorcore. Disputes between Coleman and the label were finalized in 1996 when Columbia Records officially dropped Big L from the label. When asked about the reasoning behind the drop, he responded with, "I was with a bunch of strangers that didn't really know my music." With his music career now in question, more sad news followed. On March 2nd, 1997, one of the members of Children of the Corn, Bloodshed, which was also Cameron's cousin, died in a car accident in New York. The loss devastated everybody, and the group disbanded not long after that. The grind didn't stop, and despite having no label behind, he started to work on his second album, called The Big Picture, and would also in July appear with DITC on an issue of the Go magazine. The same year, he also appeared on OC's single, Dangerous.
I be that smooth cat you never seen rolling with clowns. One of the few from uptown that's holding it down.
And was the opening act for his European jewel store. A year later, he decided to finally open up his own independent label called Flamboyant Entertainment, and according to the Village Voice, it planned to distribute the kind of hip-hop that sold without top 40 samples or R&B hooks. 3 years after his solo release, in 1998, L released his new single called Ebonics.
If you got AIDS, you got the germ. If a chick gave you a disease, then you got burned.
The single was so good that it was not only called one of the top 5 independent singles of the year by the Source magazine, but also caught the attention of Damien Dash, the CEO of Rockefeller Records. This was huge for Big L, but he managed to remain calm and didn't jump the gun to sign to the label after the first offer. Dash offered him a deal as a solo artist, but one thing about Big L was that he always looked after his people, so he declined and demanded to sign not only him, but also his whole crew. Surprisingly, they were open to a conversation about it, and on February 8, 1999, Coleman, Herb McGruff, C-Town, and Jay-Z started the process to sign with a Rockefeller as a group called the Wolfpack. This was the biggest deal of his life. He would not only sign to Rockefeller, have a label behind his back that would see and fulfill his vision, but the deal would also put his day ones on the map, sharing the success with his people. But unfortunately, once again, when the dream was within the hand's reach, tragedy was looming on the horizon. Only a week later, on February 15, 1999, at approximately 8:30 p.m., Big L was standing at 45 West, 139th Street in his native Harlem when a car pulled up next to him and started firing shots. He was hit 9 times in the face and the chest, instantly dying at the scene. One of Big L's childhood friends, who was also on his debut album cover, Gerard Woodley, was arrested in connection to the crime. They had two main theories. One theory is that Big L's older brother, Lee, put out a hit on Woodley and two other gang members, and Big L was asked to help the gunman by pointing out who the targets were. Weeks before Big L's shooting, Woodley survived an attempt on his life, and Big L, according to the police, was reportedly seen in the presence of the hitman. The second theory was that Big L was far less innocent than he was originally portrayed. They claimed that they had several sources that confirmed him being a member of a local gang that robbed drug dealers. During the investigation, they were not only unable to find surveillance footage that might implicate Woodley in the crime, but also there were no witnesses who were willing to testify, opposing the idea of snitching. Both of the theories remain in the same status to this day, because due to lack of evidence, Gerard Woodley was released from custody and Big L's case was left unsolved. While there was insufficient evidence to convict Woodley of the shooting, his release remains controversial. In 2010, L's brother Don, in an interview, claimed that Big L was sent to do something that he was not supposed to by their brother Leroy, or Lee, confirming the speculations about it being a retaliation to his actions. In 2017, Gerard Woodley's cousin, Lou Black, released a book in which he details his first-hand interactions with the NFL crew and Big L. He once again confirmed the speculation about it being a retaliation to an attempted shooting of Woodley. Black did not specify if Woodley personally killed L. The oldest brother Lee was shot and killed on March 27, 2002. Gerard Woodley would also be gunned down years later on July 24, 2016, less than 250 yards away from the location where Big L was found dead. Regardless what was the reason behind the shooting, that night, the world lost one of the biggest what-ifs in the music history. The news spread like wildfire, leaving a heavy cloud of grief handling over the city. Big L, the iconic rapper, whose voice had echoed to millions of hearts, had tragically met his untimely demise, leaving all fans of hip-hop with a handful of unanswered questions.
Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. You know at Keep Low we bring y'all the real, so give this video a thumbs up. Tap in the Keep Low community page for new upcoming videos. Get your Keep Low production shirts. Go to www.keeplowproductions. We have all sizes, all colors, with the world famous lines in the street and a manhole cover, and we down there keeping low. Cause if you keep low, you never tell, they never gonna know. You feel me? Dig me, yo. Go to this page, www.keeplowproductions. Like the page, cop you some Keep Low shirts, hit me in the comment section, comment on this video, give it a thumbs up, and tap in with the channel Keep Low. You heard me?